Hello YouTube. I had a bit of a rest from study yesterday and spent the day hanging out with a friend. She doesn't have particularly good English, so basically it was a day spent talking Japanese, and it was good. It's getting towards the end of the year, and I at the end of last night I sort of was thinking I just had a day hanging out with a Japanese friend, chatting in Japanese all day, and it wasn't such a big deal. So, I'm not fluent yet, but it really, I've gotten a lot better since I got here. So I thought I might share a few of the ways that I study Japanese, especially since I'm studying a lot now. Just for anyone else who is trying to get good at Japanese. So my first and biggest recommendation is come to Japan. Absolutely. It's the only way you're going to truly get good. I mean, you can get good without coming to Japan, but if you want to be fluent, if you want to really learn how people actually speak and not just proper Japanese or whatever you want to call it, you've got to come to Japan and make Japanese friends and hang out with Japanese people. That being said, don't expect to come to Japan and automatically get good at Japanese just spending time here. I've seen people, and it can easily happen, who come to Japan and really don't get that good. You do have to put in a bit of effort. You've got to make the most of it. A trap people can easily fall into is they come here and they hang out with English-speaking people, either foreigners or Japanese people who are very good at English, and they just speak English all the time. And that's not going to help. You need it can be hard, it can be tiring. I was exhausted at the end of yesterday, actually, just because I'd been thinking in Japanese all day. It made my head hurt. But you got to do it, and it doesn't have to be work. I reckon some of the best experiences for my Japanese have been when I've gone out karaokeing and drinking with friends, and had a great night, but spoke a lot of Japanese. And while you're in Japan, you do have to study as well, like proper study. And I found it's kind of nice, when you're studying Japanese just at your university or whatever at home, it can feel a bit just like study. But here, you study something, and then it has an immediate positive impact on your life, because then you can use that in day-to-day experiences and makes life easier. I've often found times when I've studied something and then the next day I'll hear it used by someone, or I'll use it myself, and I'll be like, hey, I just studied that and it just came in handy right then. So you get a bit more immediate gratification from your study when you're in Japan. Another thing I think a lot of people do for Japanese is watch anime and read manga, and that's okay, but you got to be careful of which ones you're going to watch or read. I do it, but a lot of anime and manga in Japan, there's a lot of real fantasy or sci-fi kind of stuff. That's okay, but it's not going to be typical Japanese. For instance, obviously I bought this, so I'm guilty of it. Don't read something like this. I got it. I like this, so but you got to be aware. A manga like this is going to have a lot of obscure words in it that you're probably not going to use very often. Fantasy kind of words, and just even the way of speaking is not typical. One I do like though is this one, and it's called English. Is Saint Young Men, or Saint Oni-san. This is about Jesus and Buddha living as two young men, for some reason, together in an apartment in downtown Tokyo. And it's not really religious, it's funny. But what's good about this one is, even though it's Jesus and Buddha, they're still, in this context, two young men speaking in modern Japan, so it's kind of more the type of language you might actually use. That being said, it's still a manga, so sometimes it's still exaggerated and over the top. So you've got to bear that in mind. But no, I like this one. Another recommendation I have, big recommendation, get one of these. Absolutely. iPhone, iPod Touch. I just got the iPod Touch. A lot of people have Denshi Jishouls, the electronic sort of flip-top dictionaries. They're quite clunky. This is everything that is and more, basically. I have this in class, and everyone else has got their Denshi Jishouls, and I've never felt disadvantaged by having this instead. You can get dictionaries for it, and the one I recommend is this one. It's called Kotoba, the red one there, and it's free. You can get that for free off the iTunes store, and it's a great dictionary. Like, seriously, it's got everything. It's got stuff that the Denshi Jishouls don't have, like more slang terms in there as well that have come up in class. And the teacher's like, "Oh yeah, you won't have this in your dictionary," and I'm like, "Oh, got it." Have a few smug moments there. Yeah, it's portable. Like how I recommended to go out drinking with friends and stuff, or just hanging out with Japanese friends. You don't want to drag your Denshi Jishou, which can be like this big and flip up. It doesn't really fit in your pocket. This, it's so thin. It's just in my pocket. I've got my dictionary everywhere I go. If I have trouble, I can just whip it out. Also, another great one on this that I've got is called Shinkanji. And this one did cost me a bit of money. It was about $7 Australian, but I'm sure everyone who studies Japanese knows kanji can be a bitch. Kanji is one of the hardest parts of Japanese, because if you don't know the kanji, you just don't know how to read it. That's where this comes in. You see a kanji that you don't know, you can draw it into this and it will look it up. The only thing is you've got to be quite good at stroke order, because it does go on that a bit. I'm fairly good at doing stroke order, so it works for me. But you can, even as long as you get the stroke order right and the number of strokes right, you can write kanji in this really shittily, and it'll find the right one for you. And then it looks it up, and I'll do it now. We'll do this one. See the kanji for saint just there. So I've scrawled that right in there, and there it is at the top there, saint. Hit that. You get the kanji. It doesn't really show up so well. You get the kanji, and you get that really doesn't show up. Anyway, you get all the common compounds for that kanji, and it gives you the stroke order. It gives you a little animated sort of thing. This is great. And other than that, it's your iPod. It's got crap loads of stuff on it that's good fun. It can be distracting though. You're trying to use it as a dictionary, and then you start to play games on it. But that's my own fault. Oh, TV. Whenever I'm studying, I always have the TV on, just because I'm hearing things. Sometimes I'll pause and look and watch for a little while. And I don't understand everything, but I'll hear things that I understand. But I'll understand them more because I see them used in context. Sometimes it doesn't feel like you're really learning anything. It's just kind of impenetrable Japanese. But I think you do. You pick bits out. It reinforces things in your head even when you're not aware of it. So yeah. So that's how I study Japanese. Hope it helps. Good luck. Ganbatte.